Thank you for coming. I got Zerrick Milan in the building with me today. I appreciate you for being here in LA. My first time in LA, so I appreciate you sitting down, having a conversation with me. First, I want to know, like, when did you first get introduced to Ballroom? When did you first find out about it? And yeah.
Okay. So I want to say it was probably around 2015, or it could have been 2014, but I was around 15 or 16 years old in high school. And I was going through a lot at home, just personal stuff with family, like my hardships with them. And, you know, I was very involved in school and stuff, but, you know, all those extracurriculars just wasn't enough, you know, to distract me from what was going on at home. And then one day I was on social media and Instagram, and I had seen like a Vogue clip. The pioneer Lysandra Ninja from Paris. It was like a street star battle, her against the legendary Inksy Prodigy, the whole you know, Sailor Moon and Wonder Woman thing, and that was like my first time like seeing a dip. And you know, as a teenager, I was so amazed by like what they were doing and like what it was, and like that moment, it just kind of like spoke to me, it spoke to my soul, and I'm just like, wow, like I want to know what is this. And then, you know, I just went straight to YouTube and I started finding clips and started watching people, and that's how I kind of got introduced to it. It was through social media and through that Ballroom figure.
From there, you got introduced to it through social media. Where was, like, how did you first even meet the people that kind of brought you to the scene? Because it's a difference from just seeing it on TV and actually being in it.
Okay, so how I was brought to the scene, I actually didn't start meeting people from the scene. You know, like my Ballroom sisters now are like my legends and icons that I look up to until like 2018. So like from 2015 to 2018, all I had was social media. I would say one person that I would like speak to would be the legendary Justin 007. He was one of like the first people online that like seen me for my talent. And before I met people in person, I kind of got connected with people through social media. You know, people from New York chapters, a lot of people from Brazil. Like Brazil is very supportive. You know, people that when I started, like those people, I still know them now, and like they've seen my transition. But around 2018, when I finally found the scene here in LA, I was introduced to Isla Ebony's Banji ball, the ball that she throws here in LA, and someone from out of state actually like referred there, like, hey, you know, this is happening in LA. I was like, okay, cool, and I can go to this. The first one, I wasn't able to make it because like age restrictions. It was like 21 plus. I was like 19, so I was like, damn it. But the second one was like open to all. It was, damn, what year was that? Okay, it was October 2018. It was the ball, I don't remember the name, but yeah, it was that year. I went with my best friend at the time. And I had really no knowledge of like the actual ball itself. I just only knew of like, at that time I just knew of what Vogue is and how it's supposed to look, and you know, the people that do Vogue. So I got to the ball very early. I didn't know. I got there like 8 o'clock, and it was in West Hollywood, and Isla came out. She's like, "Oh, you here for the ball?" She's like, honey, it's not gonna start for another 3 hours. So I was like, okay. So I went with my best friend, and like I was just kind of like amping myself up because I'm like, wow, like these years in high school, you know, I've been doing this, and like now this is my chance. And then so we like kind of went back when the time was closer to the ball, and the legendary Eniche Smith 007, who's also my Ballroom uncle, he came up to me and my best friend, and he like hugged us. He had no idea like who we were or anything, but he kind of like revealed to us like, you know, hey, like I just like lost someone, and it was random and it was kind of weird, but it was just like, wow, like this person I don't even know just kind of like expressed love to me, and you know they're obviously going through something, and then eventually he ended up being the commentator of the ball. But like that night where I met Aniche and Isla, and that's where I like started meeting more people, and that's when I officially got into the scene, and that's when I started connecting more with people online, and that's just how it kind of went from there. It just kind of like elevated each time.
Okay, so and you eventually picked your house Milan. What did you see in Milan over the other houses that you didn't really? Why did you pick Milan over the other houses, basically?
So I joined Milan last year in April 27th. So it's only been roughly about a year, but from 2018 to like I guess 2020, I decided to say 007 just because like I wanted to get a feel of Ballroom for itself. I'm very like observant, so it's like I like to test things out before I jump into things. So when it came to like houses and like being a part of families, I just was very skeptical because I'm like I don't want to put myself in like strangers' shoes. I don't know. I feel like anytime I had an offer, I was just like okay, but it was like the person wasn't trying to take time to get to know me. It was just very like, okay, you're cute. Okay, you have talent. You should join my house. And I was just kind of like, okay, I don't know you from the get-go, but all right. But yeah, and also just like I'm a very like energy person, you know, I can feel people, and just most times, not to say that people, I felt that they were bad people, it's just like it just didn't feel natural to me. At the end of 2019, I walked the mini ball here in LA, and that's where I met. He was in Milan at the time. He's now at Saint Laurent, Tokyo. He had like came up to me, and he was like, "Oh, you know, like you're very Milan. Like I see it for you." And that was the first person that was like, "Here, take my number," and like started talking with him, and then. After I met him, it was just like another Milan would come after that, but it was like natural. I started, the icon Jamal Milan hit me up, and like I've always had respect for him. I've always known of him and his achievements, and then I started speaking to him. And then the energy was great, and he was like, oh, you know, like you should join my house. Wait, no, did he say that? I think he did. And I was like, oh, well, that's interesting because I'm already talking with someone here in LA. So he's like, oh, okay, cool. And then after Jamal, I had met Mike Milan, who's from New York. And it was just an instant connection there, a very genuine person, genuine human being, you know, wanting to get to know me, not so much like, oh, you should, you know, join our house. And it was just like every single person, it was just good energy, good vibes. And I'm like, wow, like these people are cool. I can feel them. And then that was 2019 going to 2020. And in 2020, I had planned to walk the Jamal and Dewan ball in June, but it got canceled. But leading up to that time, you know, I was getting to know them. Everything kind of turned to like Zoom and house party. So I was doing video calls with the Milans in like Russia, Netherlands, New York, Miami, really getting to like know these people. And I felt like, okay, these are cool, genuine people. You know, it's not just about ballroom. It's not just about voguing. It's not just about like, we want you to perform. It's about like these people genuinely care about my well-being and how I'm doing and, you know, what I have going for myself. And that's just really like what stuck with me. And then, so that was like 6 months of getting to know them. And then came April. I turned 21 in February, world shut down in March, and then in April, I was actually diagnosed HIV positive. So that was just kind of like, and I had found out the morning on my way to work, like in my Uber, and my shift was about to start.
During the pandemic?
Yes. That's another thing, I was still working. So my mental state was just like, it was a lot, you know, like dealing with this COVID and like my work and just, you know, trying to be like a young adult now. And then hearing that news with everything going on, it was just like, damn, you know, it was like, why me? I went to work. I had to tell my boss, because in that moment I told her, I'm like, I can't be here. Told her, and then after that, I'm like, I couldn't call my biological mother. I wasn't ready to tell my best friends. I wasn't ready to tell my boyfriend at that time. And then something just told me I have to speak to Jamal. You know, I knew he grew up in that time frame. I knew he would be understanding, and I just knew from getting to know him, I knew that like, okay, this is someone I can speak to right now. I spoke to him, he had calmed me down, and he was just like, okay. He's like, now this, he's like, what did he say? He was like, now this is the time where you need to start living your life. You know, he says you need to, you know, really take every opportunity for what it is. You know, you're going to be okay, this, that, and the third. And like that conversation with him, I really took what he said when he said like, you really have to start enjoying life more and just take chances and, you know, do things that are, you may seem off, just do it. And then that night, another Zoom call with Milan's, you know, very loving, fun energy. And then they're like, you know, Zerrick, you know, like, when are you gonna join? And in that moment, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna join. It was the relationships that I had built in those progressing months with them that I felt like, okay, I should, like, these are cool people, like, I think I want to be around them. And then it was just kind of like being diagnosed and like hit with that news and then having that support system. And then at that time, Jamal was the only person that knew, but just getting on that call and like speaking to them, I felt like genuine love. So I'm just like, okay, this is where I want to be. These are people that I can consider family, you know, either now or times from now. And that's how I kind of joined the house. You know, I kind of got to know them.
That's what's up. That's real deep. Like, yeah, so you felt that close to them to be able to be that open about your diagnosis and stuff like that. Besides that, like, how have you dealt with it mentally moving forward?
I would say right now, I'm very like, I'm content, you know, it is what it is. I take my medication, practicing safe sex. But 2020 was a very hard year because it was so hard to like tell people, like a lot of people would always ask me, like, you know, like, how are you doing? And like, when they ask that question, that's the first thing that pops in my head, you know, like, I'm positive, you know, I have to take these pills every day, and there's COVID. So it was hard, but I had the support system of many. And then being in Ballroom, you know, you kind of learn that a lot of people are genuinely like you. So you come to meet people who live with the same status as you, and you feel a little bit more comfortable. I met some people in my house at the time who, you know, revealed their status, just an open conversation. And I was just like, wow. And, you know, that made me feel more comfortable with myself.
besides this, family of people that you've chosen for, the house that you joined, what is the other benefit or what is the other good parts about being in Ballroom to you?
Besides family, Ballroom has gotten me like a lot of opportunities since I've started that I never thought I would have in like years. Ballroom has like I've been in a commercial, I've been in a music video. Next week, a beauty campaign for Pride is coming out with like NYX or NYX Cosmetics, and that's all through Ballroom. That's all through me, learning about a culture and expressing myself on the floor, and doing what I love the most, and then having someone else see my talent for what it is and see how invested I am in being inspired by that, and then wanting me to work with them. So definitely like Ballroom has not only like saved my life and has helped me express myself, but it also has gained me a lot of opportunities that I'm very blessed to be blessed with.
That's dope. That's dope. So, what is one negative side about Ballroom that you don't like or that you wish you could change?
One negative. Negative thing about Ballroom. I would definitely have to say the history. I feel like, my Vogue peers or people, of my age and my generation don't really take the time to learn about the elders or respect the elders. And you can kind of tell. Oh, hold up. Let me think what I say before I say it. Because I don't want to sound disrespectful. But just generally, like, my Ballroom inspirations comes from, like, the old school girls and, the people from the 90s and the 80s. So I have a deep respect for, like, old school Ballroom. And I feel like the history is kind of lacking in certain people. The way how things are ran, the way people act, or the way people treat Ballroom. I definitely, or just like how you see Ballroom in all these classes or all these random people teaching Ballroom, and or like, let me think. I don't want to say the wrong thing. Or how it's being like projected in media, or like certain people have never been, that certain people that are voguing but have never been to a ball in their life. That's just one negative thing that I personally don't like, is that sometimes the history is getting lost and can be lost.
Yeah, I think that's because maybe it hasn't been documented properly. We have like balls that have been recorded, but are we really documenting like people's existence? You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, if you're a teenager and you're coming up in the scene, you pretty much care about having fun. You care about going out there. You care about, so I think probably just educating people more will probably help solve that, maybe, or hopefully. Besides voguing, are there any other categories that you would like to walk?
Yes. I am very interested in All-American Runway. Eventually I would want to walk that. I really like Catboy and Sex Siren categories, but personally I feel like my body aesthetic, how it is right now, I would want it to be more different to walk that category. Like, I would want to be more buff and like built and have more meat in certain areas. I wouldn't want to walk like as a twink.
I mean, isn't that what Catboy is?
Yeah, but I think for me to walk, I would just want a different look for myself. So that's why it's one of my minor categories, because I would just want to work on my body more to have the look for myself in order to walk.
Okay, I can see that. So I want to thank you for coming, sharing your story. It's very brave of you. I think, a lot of people can get a lot from this. I think more people need to be open, honest, and like I said, it's not such a big deal as it was back in the day. So I'm glad that, you know, we have you on the scene. I'm glad that you found your family, that you found the people that you feel comfortable with. So the last question I want to ask you is to just describe yourself in 5 words or less.
In 5 words or less, brave, optimistic, artistic, charismatic, and a daredevil. At the end of the day, we are always blessed with life, and you should just take that and do whatever you can to be the person that you want to be, accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. Don't take things too seriously, and just do your best in every aspect of life.
That's what's up. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Zerrick Milan.
Ooh.